All right, welcome everybody. My name is Dana Smith, and I'm an associate professor of Holocaust and Genocide Studies here at Keene State College, as well as the assistant director of research for the Cohen Institute. Today's program is part of the Institute's series of critical response events. These events are meant to promote understanding and conversation about emerging and ongoing crises and critical topics throughout the world. Today, we'll be focusing our attention on events in Haiti. The goal for this series is to promote a wide range of viewpoints and expertise. The views and opinions expressed by guest speakers are those of the individual and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views or positions of Keene State College, the Cohen Institute, facilitators, and/or other participants. Our format for today's lunchtime discussion will be as follows. We will have about 30 minutes of presentation and discussion with our guests, followed by about 10 minutes available for questions before we wrap up. Audience members may submit questions to the moderator using the Q&A function in Zoom. We ask that individuals wishing to suggest questions, please frame their inquiries in a respectful and open-minded manner. We welcome questions that highlight intellectual rigor, curiosity, and common courtesy. We may need to reword questions at times for clarity, and we may not always be able to answer every question posed in the chat. I would also like to remind everyone that unauthorized video, audio, or other recordings of today's event are prohibited. The facilitator for today's event is Dr. Ashley Green, Professor of Holocaust and Genocide Studies at Keene State College and Cohen Institute Specialist for the 2025-2026 academic year. I will now turn the floor over to Dr. Green, who will introduce today's presenter and facilitate the conversation. Thank you, Ashley.
Yes, thanks, Tina. So, first of all, thank you to everyone who's come and joined us on your lunch hour. I want to start just by saying how delighted I am that we're able to have this session today with Smith Maximé, and who I'll introduce in just a moment. But this crisis in Haiti is one that even a year ago we were looking at as something that is so pressing and timely. And so we're just thrilled that we can finally have this opportunity to really get a better sense of what has been happening in Haiti and what the path forward might look like, and about some of the really critical and difficult work that organizations like Beyond Borders are doing. So I'm delighted to introduce our expert for today's session, Smith Maximé, who's the co-executive director of Beyond Borders Haiti. And his organization is working directly in Haiti, dealing with the fallout of what is really multiple and overlapping crises that have put strain on the social fabric and everyday life for people living there, dealing with issues including political fragmentation, institutional collapse, armed violence, and economic contraction. So it's a complicated case, and we are just grateful to have Smith Maxime with us. So I'd like to start before you launch into what you prepared for us today, Smith, if you would be willing to first tell us a little bit more about yourself and maybe share a piece of your journey as far as how you came to do the work that you're doing now.
Thank you very much, Ashley, and thank you very much for everyone who's spending time to attend this conversation. Um, we are grateful for that. Um, I grew up at the time I was a teenager when the Haitian population overcome the dictatorship in 1986. We were looking for change. Uh, and At this time, I was in secondary school, and this sense of involvement and finding a way to change the situation, that was my first motivation. And after secondary school, and then going to university for a bachelor degree and getting a master degree in project management. And since then, my involvement was working on the field of looking for change, gender-based violence, child protection, human trafficking, and now I am the co-director of Beyond Borders, who still working to prevent violence against women and girls, working for universal access to education for every child, to school-age children, for economic justice and sustainable livelihood, and also working to remove children trapped in domestic servitude. Those it is currently our work we are doing in Haiti, and we are very happy to contribute to something meaningful for the Haitian population.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, we are absolutely, as I said, delighted to have you. And so now I'm going to formally just turn it over to you to share with us and tell us more about this crisis and the work that your organization has been doing on the ground.
Thank you. First, let us situate Haiti. I don't know if everyone knows where Haiti is. Haiti is in the Caribbean Sea, and we share the Quisqueya Island with the Dominican Republic. And um, when Christopher Columbus invaded this island in 1492, and after 2 years established slavery and decimated the indigenous people. In 1503, the Spanish and Christopher Columbus decided to import African to come to work as slaves on the island. This means that from 1494 until 1794, we spent 300 years in slavery. Um, in in 1791, we decided to say, okay, no more slavery on this part of the highland, and we fight the French army and get our independence in 1804. Since then, Haiti is struggling. It is a part of our history, and we show for the past 100 years, Haiti suffered a lot. But now about the current crisis, um, there are numerous narratives about Haiti now in the press, the mainstream media. But for me as Haitian, how I characterize this crisis? We may hear that people are talking about humanitarian crisis, insecurity crisis, political instability crisis. For me, the first thing we have it is an issue of wealth creation. We have an issue of wealth distribution and subsequently the extreme inequality. We have an issue of labor exploitation and marginalization. We have a political system that doesn't serve the national interest, the absence of an army, lack of law enforcement, and finally, not the least, the constant foreign dominance and interference. For me, if you take into account those 8 factors, that may let you understand what is happening in Haiti now. Let me dive in for the first one. The issue of wealth creation. Our economy now is oriented towards importation mostly. While local production has been dismantled by public policy and also International Monetary Fund recommendation, we have a tax and credit systems that are promoting importation instead of local production. Just for give you an example, before 1986, Haiti produced enough rice for local consumption. Now we are importing more than 80% of what we need for rice consumption in Haiti now. You see the difference. Um, it was knowingly decided to when the the World Trade Organization, when the IMF, after 1990, decided to ask small countries to open their economy to be, say, the open market. This means you put local farmers in Haiti with farmers in the US that have the strong support of the US government. You put them in the field to compete. Normally, the weak will lose the game. And unfortunately, Haitian farmers lose the game. Um, Over the past 6 years, the economy is in stagflation situation. This means that we have the decrease of the GDP, the gross domestic product, and we have high inflation. Most of the time, you have high inflation in the expansion phase of the economy. But in Haiti, it is different. We have a decrease of the GDP and the high inflation. And just give you an example for the GDP in 2024, our GDP was 4.4 billion US dollars. This means we have a very small economy. And I'm sure I am using the exchange rate of 130 Haitian currency for one US dollars, just to put this into context. It means you have a small economy, around 5 billion US as a GDP. And 6 years in contraction from 2018 to 2024, the economy is a constant contraction. Um, as I said, we have a high inflation. The inflation rate was at 20% in 2019 and reached 50% in 2024. You can imagine the situation the population here is living in. And now, if you take a look of national budget, not too much, 2.7 billion US dollars for the fiscal year 25, 2026, in which it is the key thing to understand the crisis. In this budget, we have only 623 million for public investment. Is that we are not investing in the economy. We are paying salaries and also the day-to-day cost operation. Um, if you take a look at the public investment in the economy, um, over the past 25 years, public investment never reaches 28% of the revenue collected by the government. Um, in 2022, it was 2.17% of the revenue invested. 2023, 3.43% of the revenue collected invested in the economy. 2024, 1.53, and 2025, 4.71% of the what we collected through taxes and then what we spend what we invest in the economy. As I said, our economy is oriented toward importation, and we are constantly in a trade deficit. Haiti recorded a trade deficit of minus $300 million, in May 2025. Since 28, we are in a we are in a trade deficit. Never balance our really our trade. We have a high unemployment, so the people are not working. This gives you a snapshot of what I call the crisis of wealth creation. We are not creating enough wealth in the country. Now, addressing the issue of wealth distribution and subsequently the extreme inequality, just give you not enough time to go deeper into the details. The When you look at number of people living in extreme poverty, that means they are living with less than 1.23 US dollar per day. It is 2.5 million people in the country. This means that a quarter of the population are living in extreme poverty with less than 1.23 US dollars. But living in poverty in general, this means that with less than 2.40 USD, it is more than half of the population, 6 million people. 58.5 people are living in poverty. This means with less than $2, no, $2 and a half. Imagine that you in the US, you have uh, $2 and a half for a day. Can you imagine that? Um, Food insecurity, it is 5.7 million people are suffering from acute hunger currently in the country. This gives you, the key point to understand how we have a problem of wealth distribution and how we are in an extreme inequality. I've seen the issue of labor exploitation and marginalization. Uh, um, um, Give a sample, take a look at the minimum wage. The range is from 2.69 USD to 769 USD, depending on the sector you are in the economy, per day, not per hour. Now, you are here, you are thinking of when you have 16 USD per hour, you think it is, oh, this is not, it is, I don't have enough, but maybe for the cost of living here. But imagine in a country where you say, so the one who is receiving the most is around 7 or 8 USD per day in the economy when they are working. The lack access to education uh, in Haiti, the 85% of the school offering is coming from private run. This means the public system addressing only 15% of the education need. This means that most of the people in Haiti, they are paying, they are paying for education. Imagine that someone who is living with less than 3 USD per day have to pay for primary school, have to pay for secondary school, and have to pay for for university or college. And fortunately, you in the US from first to 12th grade, you have a free school system. We don't have it. The healthcare, again, the failed healthcare. Most of the population of Haiti doesn't have access to healthcare. Or those who are working, they have to pay a private doctor if they want to have healthcare. For the labor exploitation and marginalization. Now, take a look at the political system. When I say the crisis is about the political system doesn't serve the national interest. How I can, demonstrate that? The feeling is that official at national level, they are accountable to foreign governments. I can give an example. In 1980, you know, 4 years after overcoming the dictatorship of the Tonton Jean-Claude Duvalier, there were an election organized in the country, and the Haitian population decided to elect Jean-Bertrand Aristide as president. Unfortunately, the this wasn't the will of the US government. It wasn't the will of the elite and Haiti, and they organized the coup d'etat of September 1991. We have this mean at the collision between foreign interest and the Asian elite, and they decided to say, okay, we cannot respect the will of the Asian people. They organized the coup d'etat. There was a second coup d'etat in 2004. Again, the same situation where you have a foreign government decided this person, I don't want it as president of Haiti. And another example I can give you where the political system is not organized to serve the Asian people. In 2011, the State Department decided who should run the country as president. The second thing, the alignment with the foreign interest is also with corporate interest. Okay. I don't know if you know, now in Haiti we have Eric Prince providing, as we call them mercenaries. They are providing security services in Haiti. Um, um, and I think the one key situation and that can let you understand the current crisis is also the political and economic elite are using violent methods to down their competitors. And they are using gangs in the slums to solve their differences. And then this is key element to understand what is happening now in the country, because when you are looking at those who are carrying heavy weapons, cost thousand US dollars, where they find it. This means that there are some powerful people, who are importing those heavy guns and then to provide them to the guys on the slum. This is the element to just illustrate how the political system is not serving the national interest. Um, one of the elements I mentioned as a key factor to understand the crisis is the absence of an army. But again, it is related to foreign interference in the country. And after the coup d'etat of 1991, the UN, the US government, they imposed an embargo upon Haiti. They said that, okay, to force the militaries to change their will, to let the government to come back, the democratic government elected to come back to power. In 1994, it was the US Army bringing President Aristide back to Haiti. At this time, the US Army decided to dismantle the Haitian Army in 1994. This means since 1994, Haiti doesn't have an army. Decided, okay, for good or bad, because they said, okay, too many coup d'etats, and then too many human rights violation. He said, okay, they have to dismantle the army. But we know for what happened in the Latin America and in Chile. In Chile, there was an army and with Pinochet, organized coup d'etat, but they didn't dismantle the Chilean army. But they decided for Haiti to dismantle the army. I think this is a key element to understand the security crisis we currently have in Haiti. And in 1995, they created the national police. That now you have a national police playing the role of police and the army. But you have an institution performing two roles: army, defense, and protecting the population, but with a low number of police officers. Um, in Haiti, we currently have one police officer for 1,200 residents. And if you compare this number with that of the Dominican Republic, they have one police officer for 300 residents in the Dominican Republic. You can see the difference. This means that we don't have enough police officer to provide security to protect the resident, while we don't have an army. The other element of the crisis I mentioned is the absence of the law enforcement. Unfortunately, in Haiti, jail is for poor people. Uh, and for in the tax system I mentioned above, that's unfair. The corporations, they have two books. One book for the an accounting system for the stakeholders, an accounting system for the equivalent of the IRS, what we call the DGI and Haiti. This means that when when the tax collectors come to take a look at the books, they provide the one for the public and the second one for the school for the stakeholders. It means that they are not paying fair tax. This is the kind of the lack of law enforcement we have, but also it is the situation of, we say, the parliament, decided to vote a bill and the publishing in the national press, but after that there is no enforcement of that. It is kind of the situation. Uh, the last but not the least, the factor I mentioned is that the foreign interference. Um, this started, since our independence after 1804. The French government decided or imposed to the Haitian government to pay for our independence. It is what we call the independence ransom. It was a ransom. And okay, the Haitian government decided to say yes because they wanted the recognition of the French government. Just to let you know that after our independence, the US, all of the European countries still having slavery in their society, or having colonies with slavery, they refused to recognize Haiti as an independent country. And the French government decided, okay, you need to pay us. We beat you on the battlefield, but the Haitian had to pay them for their independence. Okay, the Haitian government said, yes, I'm ready to pay you, but we didn't have the money. We had to borrow money from the French to pay them for our independence. What happened? We spent 150 years to pay off this debt. It's been from 1825 until 1950. Haiti was paying capital and interest into what we call the independence ransom. This is the situation. This is an example of the foreign dominance and interference. In 1950, no, 1915, with the US superpower emerging, and they decided to invade Haiti. Before the invasion of Haiti, the US Army come to our central bank and they steal our gold. Till now, our reserve is still at the end of the US government. The gold reserve we had in 1914, they steal it. Until now, they still owe us this gold. The US spent 19 years occupying Haiti. In 1394, they decided to leave. But they leave, but they set a system to serve them. The army, the government, it is for the system to serve the US interest. And in the battle between the communist part of the world and they support the dictator in Haiti, and then to say that don't take the Cuban example. This is kind of the example of foreign dominance or foreign interference. And I explained to you the coup d'etat of 1990, the UN mission coming to say to help us out, and all of those kind of what we call the foreign dominance and interference, because they may think that Haiti cannot decide for themselves. But when I take an example, I ask, okay, we have people giving us independence. They decided by themselves. How we can decide by ourselves now to decide what direction we should take for the country? And Lastly, just on in this February, we had a presidential council, and you know what? The State Department decided to dismantle the council. And the State Department decided that the current prime minister should be the one leading the country by himself. The State Department. It was clear and simple. They said their they said that it was part of the hemisphere movement within the Venezuela, but it was they sent the army close to the Asian Sea. People in Port-au-Prince can see the shift in the sea, the army, because they said that the 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 presidential council should go and replace them by the one they decided should serve their interests. Just give you an example of the foreign interference. And we hear what happened with contract the current prime minister signed, and we understand why the State Department supported the prime minister, because Eric Prince, the friend of the current US president, is now providing security. He had a $50 million as contract to support Haiti for security. In the same situation, we cannot build an army, we cannot build our police. We are paying Eric Prince, the friend of the president, of the Trump president, $50 million, and for 1 year contract, $52 million. Um, this means that foreign dominance and foreign interference, with having the Asian elite serving this foreign interest, they are destroying their country. Now, it is how characterize the crisis. We don't have, well, you may say that we have a humanitarian crisis, sure, but it is the surface. Those factors are the structure, below the sea, explaining the current crisis. But it is kind of the factors I take. It is, if you want to solve the crisis, it is most of the time the foreign people said, okay, what I can do for Haiti, what I can. I said that it is not a quick fix. It's not a quick fix. I was saying that I'm giving contribution. It's important to solve. Okay, you are supporting someone to go to school. You are supporting to put a hospital. That's important, but that cannot solve the problem. And we need strategy to increase our GDP. We need a fair and effective tax system. We need to increase the national budget and spending for the well-being of the majority of the population. We need to increase public investment in the economy. We need to reduce our trade deficit. Uh, we need strategy and plan for our food sovereignty. We claim our food sovereignty we had before 1986. Um, we need to establish that we have it in the Constitution, universal access to education for all school-age children, and they should go through public school. If you have money, you want to go to the private school, that's okay for you. But the government should, as it is in the US now, you have public school, you don't have to pay to send your children to school. If you want, you can put it in the private school. We need access to healthcare for the majority of the population. This can summarize the strategy. You can see that this is not an NGO solution. This is not a quick fix. To say, I send the army. When I hear that they created the gang suppression forces, we know this won't work. We experience from 1994, they sent UN mission, multiple UN mission, again. They decided to send a gang suppression process. I am not saying that we don't need a foreign support. I'm not saying that we need it, but this should be under the leadership of the Haitian people, under their direction, not following what the UN Council is deciding, not following what the State Department is deciding for the Haitian. Haitian can decide for themselves. As an organization at Beyond Borders, what we are doing as an NGO, how this crisis is affecting our work. You when you have public policy protecting the population, first they are come to you. You have an office close to the community, and we are promoting universal access to education. We are preventing violence against women and girls. But most of the time, when we receive a case of the girl that has been raped, we have to refer the case to the judiciary system. But most of the time, it didn't work. It didn't work. When you have a child in domestic servitude, you need a liberation. Most of the time, you need the judiciary, you need the police to intervene. It's not working. This means and when people come to you to say that I can send my children to school, this is not a response for an NGO. This is the response for the government. We need public policy to make sure every school children go to school. Poverty, again and again. We are there is a professor at University Sauveur Pierre Etienne with a book called Haiti, the Republic of NGO, because NGO is replacing the government. It should be the reverse. I see NGO in the US, they are doing their work, but you have your government, you have your institution doing what they have to do. But it is when you lack of the way there is a lack of public policy, lack of government, this means that you are facing a tough challenge. In the situation now in Porto, we have offices in Port-au-Prince, on the Lagonav Island, in the southeast. Port-au-Prince is encircled by gangs now. You have to take a flight from Port-au-Prince to go to Jacmel to the southeast. You have to take a flight from Port-au-Prince to go to Cape Haitian. It is costly. And in the 3 years ago, in the morning, I can leave Port-au-Prince to go to Lagonav. Now, it takes me 2 days to go to Lagonav because I have to take a flight from Port-au-Prince to go to Lekai. From Lekai, take a car to go to Miragran, spend the night in Miragran to take a boat to cross the sea to go to Lagonav. It is the situation. I know I don't have enough time to go more, but talking about Haiti can take days. But
Yes.
I hope that gives you the sense of what is happening.
Thank you, Mr. Maximé. It was really a masterful weaving together of some of these, not just the current crisis on the surface and what we're seeing in Haiti, but as you said, the underlying structures under the sea, as you said it. And it was really so very informative. We have just about 5 minutes left for questions, so I'd like to jump right in and also invite our audience members to continue sending in your questions. But the first question goes back to your mention of the role of gang violence. And you mentioned how this is in part something that politicians are using to advance their own interests. And the question is wondering if you could say a bit more about how everyday people are navigating this violence.
It is tough. Let's say that we have 10 departments in Haiti. The gang activities are concentrated in Port-au-Prince, in the West Department, in one part of Artibonite. This month, the remaining part of the country, people are living kind of quietly. But in Port-au-Prince, the problem is that you cannot cross the roads easily. They are controlled by gang. A driver should pay at every stop. To cross the road, driver had to pay. It is the situation of the people now living Port-au-Prince. Now, you can cross a road controlled by the gang, you're paying them. They are collecting, I don't know, taxes. It's a joke, but it is the reality. You have to decide where to go or not to not go, because they can decide to kidnap you. You know, and you, if you have resources, you take a flight. As us, most fortunately, as an NGO, we have resources. Okay, we can pay for staff members to take a flight to cross to go, but it is the situation, and they decide when they want to not let goods coming into Port-au-Prince. Most of that they are paying the high price in Port-au-Prince now, because all of the agricultural products coming from countryside to Port-au-Prince, they cut off this circuit. And yes, they are living their way, but in a constant stress of that things can worsen anytime.
Thank you. And the next question, so much of how you frame this conflict was foreign interference gone terribly wrong, and almost globalization in some ways gone wrong, and just the decision after decision that foreign powers have made that has not been in the interests of the country or the people of Haiti. Can you weigh in on Kenya's decision to send security forces to Haiti? And it's my understanding that just last month, Kenya began a phased withdrawal of its security forces from Haiti. How do you see that decision in the first place? What was its impact in Haiti, and how do you feel about the withdrawal now?
The time they made this decision, we thought it was a joke. And it is a proof to be a joke. After 1 year, what is the result? They say the failure of the MMS, and then decided, okay, let's put a forces under the UN chapter. They made the decision. But what I said that, why we don't build an Haitian army? Why we don't build a national police?
Mm.
Tell me, tell me where in the world you have foreign troops come to solve problem of a society. Tell me where it succeed. How Haiti can be the exception?
Mm.
Having foreign troops come in, say that they will solve the problem, but that didn't happen. Different. This means they are making us think that they can come to solve a problem that we should solve on our own. Let us build an Haitian army. Let us build a strong national police. Let us build a judiciary system, a strong judiciary system without their interference, with your support. But most of the time, when they tell you it is international cooperation, they come with their agenda, they come with their budget, they decide everything, they come with the trainers, and they say, "Dope, I did a good job." They get 100% grade A plus. They said, "Good." But again and again, they have to come back. This means they took the wrong way. Haiti are taking again the same wrong way to send a human child to Haiti. It will be the wrong way. If they keep doing the same thing, it will be the same result. Haitian should take control of their destiny.
Thank you. We have 1 more minute really. So I'm going to to highlight, take the second to highlight your organization once more, Beyond Borders Haiti, and to just, as you said, it's not a problem one NGO can fix, but you are doing incredible work on the ground. And so I just want to remind our audience that if you'd like to learn more about Beyond Borders
Mm.
Haiti, you can go to their website and just learn about the really critical and important work that you're doing there. So I want to thank you, Mr. Maximé, for being with us, and I'm going to hand it over for our closing to Dr. Smith once more.
Thank you. And just one more thank you for Ashley and Smith for joining us today, taking the time to lead our community in such an important conversation on issues that are impacting the world today, and to help our audience really learn about and think through some of these complex realities. And so thank you for spending your lunchtime on Friday with us. And as we wrap up, the Cohen Institute would like to thank everyone for your support of our critical response events throughout the year. And then when you're interested, you can find more information on upcoming events as we're closing out the academic year here at Keene State right now. So you can visit the website and learn a little bit more, and hopefully we'll see everybody later on. Thank you, everybody.